What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with a lucky dip. And this is another one from Mikey. Thank you, as always, for providing a lot of music. And this one is a song by t.A.T.u. Now, this is a duo I'm vaguely familiar with. I remember early to mid-2000s, they were, in the pop culture. They were certainly played on MTV. I had a friend of a girlfriend I had back then who she was from Russia, and I think she came to the US like early 2000s, and she had said like she knew some of their music in Russian, and so she was intrigued to hear them singing in English, and more on that in a moment. But I never really knew them beyond the one or two tracks, which is Not Gonna Get Us, something like that, and there was one other one that I can't think of the name of in the moment. But I remember hearing those on the radio, and again, I think MTV. The point is, this song comes from a little bit later. It's 2008. I think Mikey said it's from their third English language album, Waste Management. But he mentioned, he doesn't really believe in the concept of guilty pleasures, because if you like something, then it has genuine value. But he did make a few comments about why it's complicated when it comes to being into them. Number one, he mentioned they're just vocalists. They don't write their own music. They don't, produce or compose the tunes. And he said they actually, barely spoke English when they started making their songs in English. Secondarily, he said that one of the guys who came up with the concept for the band, which was this idea that they were actually lovers, when Mikey pointed out, it became clear eventually that they were just friends, and I think they're both straight, so, it was an act. But he said, nevertheless, that one of the guys that, came up with the concept for the duo turned out to be a bit of a creep, and they eventually kind of forced him out. Thirdly, he mentioned that in more recent years, one of them, Yulia, made some homophobic comments about gay men on a Russian TV station, and it led to a falling out between the two of them. Years later, I think he said she eventually kind of half apologized and they decided to tour again. But yeah, so he mentioned there's a lot of extra issues around the duo. Nevertheless, he mentioned that the people who make their music are good producers, and they have tunes that, are catchy and sonically engaging. So, in any case, this track, Fly on the Wall, he mentioned, lyrics are impactful to him because, there's some concepts in there, and I think the line he highlighted was something like, silently I arrive, you don't even know I'm alive, which, the idea of being there for someone who barely notices you at all is, particularly painful dynamic. So I feel like the essence of that phrase, many people will sympathize with in a variety of contexts, but I certainly do get how that can be a very powerful expression of an emotionally difficult situation. So in any case, yeah, let's give it a listen. This is t.A.T.u. The track is Fly on the Wall, and it's apparently from their third English language album, 2008, Waste Management.
When you're naked in the shower, when you're sleeping for an hour, when you're big, when you're small. Oh, I wish I was a fly on the wall. When you're with her after midnight, when you kiss her in the dim light, when you break Barbie doll. Oh, I wish I was a fly on the wall. Only see who you are, every inch, every scar. From your head to your toes, I will be there. From your back to your clothes, I will be where you think you're alone. Now I'll be down the hole. I can see it if I was a fly on the wall. What you do and you're on my eye could see it all. You understand? I wish I was a fly on the wall. Yeah, yeah. For the drama that you're drinking, and the dark thoughts you are thinking, and the love notes that just grow. Oh, I wish I was a fly on the wall.
right before that last re-kicking of the chorus, I thought it was going to have a like sudden end. So I'm not surprised that it started fading right after that. But yeah, like sonically very engaging, sort of like a break trance feel. Like some of the melody and the electric synths, they feel like a trance-like tune, but it's syncopated. It's not like a steady 4/4 beat. So yeah, like it felt a bit like break trance. Definitely a danceable tune. I do enjoy. There's like this deep pulsing bass and a couple sections where like the track cleans up a little bit, and I enjoy the like the particular sound of the snare, the like kick snare rhythm. And yeah, like lyrically, I certainly caught the idea that the narrator just wants to be close to this other person, and she wishes she could be there when this person's showering, when they're sleeping, when they're kissing someone else in the daytime, I think. So it's like they know that they can't be fully intimate or the significant other to the person in question, but they still are drawn to them. They still wish they could be there in all the intimate moments and all the simple moments of the other person's life. So, when they're looking in the mirror, when they're, going about their business of the day, from top to bottom, front to back, they just want to be right there. So, yeah, it's like there's an implicit pain, but on the surface, it almost sounds like devotional. It sounds fully focused on the other person. So, definitely a sense of, the traditional meaning of a fly on the wall. You want to be there to hear and to see, but without being seen or heard. You just want to be present. But obviously, if you're not a fly, if you're another person, it feels like there's an implicit pain or like an inability to break through and to be not only present, but a player, like someone interacting with the other person. So, yeah, and I enjoy the like second higher vocal part of the chorus, like when it goes to a bit more of like an emotional intensity. So I do enjoy the vocals, but I don't know which one is which. It's like Yulia and Lena, I think. So yeah, I don't know which one was singing when, but yeah, admittedly, like it's a bit less bright poppy. I mean, I guess not bright isn't the right word, but the couple tunes that I remember hearing again, like early to mid 2000s, it was a bit more like like center lane pop, whereas this feels a bit more electronic, like alternative kind of pop. So yeah, maybe there's tunes on both sides of that timeline that ambiguate that point, or maybe there really is sort of an evolution of their sonics. But either way, yeah, an enjoyable tune, and one in which I do feel the alternative, slightly edgy aspect of some of the production. And again, knowing that they're not involved in that, they're just, singing music that is produced and written for them. I get that that's not really talking about them per se. But again, Mikey mentioned that the people behind their music, they do know what they're doing, and they have some good people on the production team. So in any case, a cool track. Let me know what you think, and I will see you for the next one. Peace.